If you're an international student in the UK right now, stop scrolling. What I'm about to share could completely change your post-graduation plans. There's a visa pathway that leads to permanent residency in just 3 years. And as of recently, you can access it without ever leaving the country. But there's a critical 28-day window that most students don't know about. And if you miss it, this opportunity disappears. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to take advantage of this before it's too late. Welcome back to GoUKGo, where we break down the immigration pathways and opportunities that can transform your future in the UK. I'm here to give you the insider information that universities and immigration advisors often overlook or simply don't have time to explain in detail. If you're new here, this channel is dedicated to helping international students navigate the complex world of UK visas, work opportunities, and settlement routes with clarity and actionable strategies. Today's video is absolutely crucial if you're currently studying in the UK or planning to graduate soon. We're diving deep into a game-changing update to the Innovator Founder Visa that has quietly opened up one of the fastest and most powerful pathways to UK permanent residency for entrepreneurial students. This isn't just another visa option to add to your list. For the right person, this could be the difference between building your future in the UK on your own terms versus scrambling for employer sponsorship or being forced to leave the country after your studies end. Now, before we get into the details, I need you to do something. Hit that like button right now if you're a student actively researching your post-study visa options. This information isn't being widely circulated, and the algorithm needs to know that this content is valuable so it can reach every international student who could benefit from understanding this pathway. Your like genuinely helps other students discover this information at a time when they need it most. If you're an international student in the UK right now, stop scrolling. What I'm about to share could completely change your post-graduation plans. There's a visa pathway that leads to permanent residency in just 3 years. And as of recently, you can access it without ever leaving the country. But there's a critical 28-day window that most students don't know about. And if you miss it, this opportunity disappears. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to take advantage of this before it's too late. Let me begin by laying out exactly what has changed and why this matters so much. Until recently, if you were on a student visa in the UK and wanted to switch to an Innovator Founder Visa, you faced a significant and costly barrier. You had to leave the United Kingdom entirely. That's right, you couldn't make the application from within the country. You had to physically exit, return to your home country, submit your application from overseas, and then hope that everything would be approved so you could come back. Think about how impractical and disruptive that was. You've spent years building your life in the UK as a student. You've developed business ideas inspired by your time here. You've made valuable connections with potential partners, mentors, and customers. You've identified market opportunities based on your unique perspective as someone who understands both your home country and the UK. And then, right at the moment when you're ready to pursue your entrepreneurial vision, the system forced you to pack everything up and leave. The financial costs alone were substantial. International flights back to your home country and then back to the UK again. Accommodation expenses while you waited for a visa decision, which could take weeks or even months. But beyond the money, there were opportunity costs that were even more significant. You'd lose momentum on your business development. Your networking connections would cool off. Potential partnerships might fall through. Investors who were interested might move on to other opportunities. The entire process created unnecessary risk and disruption at the worst possible time. But here's the breakthrough that changes everything. The rules have been updated, and this is information that hasn't been widely publicized yet. International students can now switch directly from a student visa to an Innovator Founder Visa while remaining in the United Kingdom. You don't have to book those expensive flights. You don't have to leave your accommodation. You don't have to pause your business development or risk losing your connections. You can transition seamlessly from student to entrepreneur without ever setting foot outside the country. This is genuinely transformative, but there's a critical detail that most students are completely unaware of, and missing this detail could mean losing access to this entire pathway. To make this in-country switch, you absolutely must apply before your current student visa expires. Specifically, you're allowed to submit your application up to 28 days before your visa expiration date. This 28-day window is not flexible. It's not a guideline. It's a hard deadline. If your student visa expires and you haven't already submitted your Innovator Founder application during that window, you've lost your opportunity to switch in-country. At that point, you'd be forced to leave the UK and apply from overseas, just like under the old system. Let me make this crystal clear with a practical example so there's no confusion about the timeline. Imagine your student visa has an expiration date of September 30th. Under the new rules, you can submit your Innovator Founder Visa application as early as September 2nd, which is exactly 28 days before your visa expires. That's your window, September 2nd through September 30th. If you submit your application on September 1st, it's too early and won't be accepted. If you wait until October 1st, your student visa has already expired and you've missed the in-country switching opportunity entirely. Now here's where this gets even more important, and this is where many students make a critical mistake in their planning. To actually submit that application within the 28-day window, you need to have already completed several major steps beforehand. These steps take time, sometimes months, so you can't just wake up 28 days before your visa expires and decide to pursue this route. You need to be planning and executing well in advance. First and foremost, you must have completed your degree. This isn't negotiable. You cannot switch to an Innovator Founder Visa while you're still in the middle of your studies. Your academic program must be finished. For most students, this means you've submitted your final dissertation, you've completed all your exams, and you're either waiting for your results or you've already had your graduation ceremony. The Home Office is very clear about this. They will not approve an Innovator Founder application from someone who is still an active student with coursework remaining. Second, and this is the step that requires the most advanced planning, you need to have secured formal endorsement from an approved endorsing body. This is not something that happens overnight, and it's absolutely essential to understand how this process works, because without that endorsement letter, your entire visa application will be rejected before it's even properly considered. Let me explain what an endorsing body is and what they do. These are organizations that have been officially approved by the UK government to assess business ideas and determine whether they meet the criteria for the Innovator Founder Visa. There are several approved endorsing bodies operating in the UK. Organizations like Innovator International, the Global Entrepreneurs Program, and others. Each one has its own specific assessment process, timeline, and fee structure, but they all evaluate applications based on the same 3 core criteria that the Home Office requires. The first criterion is innovation. Your business idea needs to offer something genuinely new or significantly better than what already exists in the market. This doesn't mean you have to invent revolutionary technology or create something that's never been done anywhere in the world. But you do need to demonstrate that your business brings innovation to the UK market specifically. Maybe you're applying expertise from your home country to solve a problem in the UK. Maybe you're combining technologies or services in a new way. Maybe you're targeting an underserved market segment with a creative approach. The key is showing that your business isn't just a copy of something that already exists. The second criterion is viability. The endorsing body needs to be convinced that there's actually a real market for your product or service, and that you have the skills, knowledge, and realistic plan to execute your business concept. This is where your business plan becomes crucial. You need to demonstrate market research showing demand for what you're offering. You need to show that you understand your target customers, your competition, and your route to market. You need to prove that you have the technical skills or industry knowledge required to deliver your product or service. And you need to present financial projections that are realistic and based on solid assumptions, not just optimistic guesswork. The third criterion is scalability. The endorsing body wants to see that your business has the potential to grow beyond just you working alone. They're looking for businesses that could expand, create employment opportunities for others, and contribute to the UK economy over time. This doesn't mean you need to promise that you'll become the next tech unicorn, but you do need to show how your business could scale. Maybe it's through hiring employees as demand grows. Maybe it's through expanding into different regions or market segments. Maybe it's through developing additional products or services. The point is demonstrating that this is a genuine growth business, not just self-employment that will always be a one-person operation. If the endorsing body reviews your business plan and decides that it meets all 3 criteria, they will issue you an endorsement letter. This document is what you'll need to include in your Innovator Founder Visa application. It's essentially the endorsing body vouching for your business concept and confirming to the Home Office that you meet the innovation, viability, and scalability requirements. Without this endorsement letter, your visa application won't proceed. It's that simple. Now here's the timeline challenge that catches many students off guard. The endorsement process typically takes anywhere from several weeks to a few months, depending on which endorsing body you approach and how well prepared your business plan is when you submit it. Some endorsing bodies work faster than others. Some may ask you to revise and resubmit your business plan if they see potential but think it needs refinement. Some may interview you as part of their assessment process. All of this takes time. This means that if your student visa expires at the end of September and you want to submit your Innovator Founder application in early September to catch that 28-day window, you need to have received your endorsement letter by then. And to receive your endorsement letter in early September, you probably needed to submit your business plan to the endorsing body back in June or July, maybe even earlier. Do you see how the timeline works? You need to be planning this months in advance, not weeks. Before I go further into comparing this route to the graduate visa option, I need to pause and make something absolutely clear. Subscribe to this channel right now. Immigration pathways change. Endorsing body requirements evolve. Visa fees are adjusted. Settlement timelines can be modified by new legislation. If you're serious about understanding your options for staying in the UK after graduation, you need reliable, up-to-date information delivered regularly. That's exactly what GoUKGo provides. And after you subscribe, drop a comment below. Are you currently considering the Innovator Founder route? Are you planning to apply for the graduate visa instead? What's your biggest concern about post-study immigration options? I read every comment, and your questions help me create content that addresses what students actually need to know. Right, let's talk about how the Innovator Founder pathway compares to the graduate visa, because this is the decision point for many international students. And understanding the real differences is crucial for making the right choice for your situation. The graduate visa, which is also called the Post-Study Work Visa, or PSW, is what the majority of international students default to after completing their degree. It's straightforward and flexible. If you've completed a bachelor's or master's degree at a UK university, you can apply for a 2-year graduate visa. If you've completed a PhD, you get 3 years. During that time, you're allowed to work in any job at any skill level. You don't need employer sponsorship. You can switch between jobs freely. You can work multiple jobs simultaneously if you want. For many students, particularly those who aren't sure exactly what career path they want to pursue or who want time to explore the UK job market and gain work experience, the graduate visa is absolutely the right choice. But the graduate visa has significant limitations that you need to understand. The most important one is this: it doesn't lead directly to settlement. When your 2 years or 3 years are up, that's it. The visa ends. If you want to stay in the UK longer, you must switch to a different visa category. And for most people, that means finding an employer willing to sponsor you for a skilled worker visa. Then, once you're on the skilled worker route, you're looking at another 5 years before you qualify for indefinite leave to remain. Although there are proposals currently being discussed that could extend that to 10 years for some visa categories. So let's do the math. 2 years on a graduate visa, then 5 years on a skilled worker visa, means you're looking at a minimum of 7 years total before you reach permanent residency. And that assumes everything goes smoothly. It assumes you find sponsorship before your graduate visa expires, which is becoming increasingly challenging as salary thresholds rise and employer compliance requirements become stricter. It assumes you maintain continuous employment at the required salary level for those 5 years. It assumes the rules don't change in ways that disadvantage you during that time. There are a lot of assumptions and potential points of failure in that pathway. The second major limitation of the graduate visa is the dependency on employer sponsorship. Even if you have a fantastic 2 years gaining experience and building your career, if you can't find an employer willing to sponsor you before that visa expires, you're forced to leave the UK. And finding sponsorship isn't as simple as just being good at your job. The employer needs to be registered as a licensed sponsor with the Home Office. They need to be willing to go through the administrative process and costs associated with sponsorship. The job needs to meet minimum salary thresholds, which have been rising significantly. The role needs to be at an appropriate skill level. For many graduates, particularly those in creative industries, startups, or sectors where sponsorship is less common, this becomes a major barrier. The third limitation is cost without a clear return on investment. The graduate visa application fee is approximately £715. On top of that, you pay the immigration health surcharge, which for a 2-year visa is around £1,552. So you're investing over £2,000 for a visa that, as we've established, doesn't lead to settlement and may not result in sponsorship. You're essentially paying for time, not for a pathway. That's not to say it's a bad investment for everyone, but you need to be honest about what you're getting for that money. Now let's contrast that with the Innovator Founder route. Yes, the upfront costs are higher. The visa application fee is approximately £1,191 for the main applicant. The immigration health surcharge is similar to the graduate visa. But then you also have the endorsing body's assessment fee, which varies between different bodies but typically ranges from £1,000 to £3,000. So we're talking about a total upfront investment of somewhere between £4,000 and £5,000. That's definitely more expensive initially. But here's what you're getting for that investment, and this is where the value proposition becomes very different. After just 3 years on the Innovator Founder Visa, you can apply directly for indefinite leave to remain. Not 5 years, not 7 years, not 10 years, 3 years. That's significantly faster than virtually any other immigration route available to someone in your position. Think about what that means for your life planning. 3 years from now, you could have permanent residency in the UK. You could have complete freedom to live and work here without visa restrictions. You could have security and stability that most other international students won't achieve for many more years. Beyond the timeline to settlement, there's the question of control and independence. With the Innovator Founder Visa, you're not dependent on finding an employer willing to sponsor you. You're not at the mercy of company restructuring or redundancies that could threaten your visa status. You're building your own business. You're creating your own employment. You're in control of your immigration pathway because it's tied to your business, not to an employer's willingness to keep sponsoring you. If your business succeeds and grows, which is obviously the goal, you have complete control over your career trajectory and your immigration status. You're building an asset that belongs to you. You're creating something that could potentially employ others and contribute to the economy. And crucially, you have 3 full years to make it work. That's a reasonable time frame to establish a business, prove its viability, and reach the point where you qualify for settlement. Even if your business faces challenges or doesn't grow as quickly as you hoped, you still have options. You can pivot your business model. You can take on employed work within your own company while continuing to develop other aspects of the business. You can bring in partners or co-founders. The visa gives you flexibility and time. And at the end of those 3 years, even if your business is still small or struggling, you may still qualify for ILR if you've met the visa conditions, though there are specific requirements about the business's progress that need to be met. Now, let me be very clear about something. This route is not for everyone, and I would never suggest that it is. If you don't have a genuine business idea that you're passionate about pursuing, this is not the right path for you. If you're not entrepreneurial by nature, if you prefer the structure and security of employed work, if the thought of running your own business sounds stressful rather than exciting, then the graduate visa or pursuing a skilled worker sponsorship is probably the better choice for your circumstances and personality. But if you've been thinking about starting a business, if you have innovative ideas that you've been developing, if you're comfortable with the uncertainty and challenge of entrepreneurship, if you want a faster route to settlement and the independence of not relying on employer sponsorship, then the Innovator Founder pathway deserves serious consideration. And the fact that you can now pursue it without leaving the UK removes what used to be one of the biggest practical barriers to this route. Here's the reality that I see from working with international students. Many of you have spent multiple years in the UK developing deep expertise in your field. You've built networks with professors, industry professionals, and fellow students. You've identified gaps in the market or opportunities that others have missed. You understand the UK context in ways that someone applying from overseas simply couldn't. You've potentially developed intellectual property, research, or innovations during your studies that could form the basis of a business. All of that is valuable, and the Innovator Founder Visa allows you to leverage it into something that provides both your livelihood and your settlement pathway. The practical advantages of being able to switch in-country are significant. You can maintain your UK address and accommodation continuously. You can keep your bank accounts, phone number, and all the practical infrastructure of your life here. You can continue networking and business development without interruption. You can attend meetings with potential investors, partners, or customers right through your visa transition. You're not dealing with the stress and uncertainty of being separated from your business ecosystem while waiting for a visa decision. This continuity matters enormously when you're trying to launch and establish a business. So what do you actually need to do if this pathway interests you? Let me give you the practical action steps. Start planning early. This cannot be emphasized enough. Don't wait until your final month of study to think about this option. During your final semester, while you're finishing your dissertation or final exams, you should also be developing your business idea in parallel. Think about what innovative concept you could build a business around. Consider your skills, your academic expertise, your industry knowledge, and the market opportunities you've observed. Research which endorsing bodies would be most appropriate for your industry or business type. Each endorsing body has slightly different specializations and assessment approaches. Some work better with technology businesses. Some focus on social enterprises. Some have expertise in particular industries. Understanding which one aligns with your business concept will improve your chances of endorsement and make the process smoother. Prepare a comprehensive business plan. This document is the foundation of your endorsement application. It needs to clearly articulate your business concept, demonstrate the innovation, prove the viability with market research and financial projections, and show the scalability potential. If you've never written a business plan before, there are resources available. Many universities have entrepreneurship centers or business advisors who can help. Some endorsing bodies provide guidance on what they're looking for. Invest time in making this as strong as possible. Make connections with mentors or advisors who can help you refine your concept. This could be professors in your field, entrepreneurs you've met through university networks, or industry professionals you've connected with during internships or projects. Their feedback can be invaluable in strengthening your business idea and identifying potential weaknesses before you submit for endorsement. Then, ideally 2 to 3 months before your student visa expires, submit your business plan to your chosen endorsing body. This timeline gives you buffer room for their assessment process, for any revisions they might request, and for receiving your formal endorsement letter. Don't cut this timeline too tight. The stress of rushing endorsement in your final weeks of visa validity is not worth it. Once you have that endorsement letter in hand, you can prepare your full visa application. This involves gathering financial documents to prove you meet the maintenance requirements, completing the detailed online application forms, arranging your biometric appointment, and compiling all the supporting evidence. Then, within that crucial 28-day window before your student visa expires, you submit everything. If your application is successful, you'll transition directly from student to innovator founder without ever leaving the UK. Your new visa begins, and you have 3 years to build your business and work toward permanent residence. There's one additional benefit worth highlighting that often gets overlooked. Once you have your innovator founder visa, you can bring dependents to the UK. That means your spouse or partner and your children can live here with you while you build your business. This is something the graduate visa doesn't allow unless your dependents were already here as your dependents during your student visa. For those of you who are married or in serious relationships, or who are planning to start families, this visa route offers a pathway to keep your family together in the UK while you work toward settlement. Let me bring all of this together so you leave with absolute clarity about what this new rule means and what you need to do. International students in the UK can now switch from a student visa to an Innovator Founder Visa without leaving the country. This is a recent change that removes a major barrier that used to make this route impractical for many people. But to access this opportunity, you must complete your degree first and secure formal endorsement from an approved endorsing body that confirms your business idea is innovative, viable, and scalable. You can apply for the Innovator Founder Visa up to 28 days before your student visa expires. This 28-day window is critical and non-negotiable. If you miss it, you lose the ability to switch in-country, and you'll have to leave the UK and apply from overseas under the old system. The visa costs more upfront than the graduate visa, typically between £4,000 and £5,000 when you include all fees. But it leads to indefinite leave to remain after just 3 years instead of the 5 or 7 or potentially 10 years required under other routes. And once you have the visa, you can bring dependents with you, giving you the ability to build both a business and a family life in the UK simultaneously. This is genuinely one of the most powerful pathways available for entrepreneurial international students. For the right person with the right business idea and the willingness to take on the challenge of building something of their own, this route offers speed to settlement, independence from employer sponsorship, and the opportunity to create something valuable while securing your future in the UK. The fact that you can now pursue it without the disruption and expense of leaving and reapplying from overseas makes it significantly more accessible and practical than it used to be. Here's what I need you to do right now. First, hit that like button if this video has shown you a post-study pathway option that you weren't fully aware of before, or if you now understand this route better than you did 20 minutes ago. Your like tells YouTube that this content is valuable and helps it reach other international students who need this information. Second, subscribe to GoUKGo because visa rules evolve constantly, endorsing body requirements change, and settlement timelines can be modified by new legislation. You need a reliable source keeping you updated on what's actually current, not what was true 2 years ago. Third, drop a comment below telling me what business idea you would pursue if you decided to go down the Innovator Founder route. Or if you're planning to do the graduate visa instead, tell me why that's the better choice for your situation. I genuinely want to hear from you, and your comments help me understand what content would be most valuable to create next. Finally, share this video with any international students you know in the UK who are entrepreneurial, who have business ideas they've been thinking about, or who are struggling to find graduate visa sponsorship and need to understand their alternatives. This could be exactly the pathway they need but don't know exists. In my next video, I'm going to break down the specific endorsing bodies in detail, explaining what each one is looking for, how much they charge, what their timelines typically are, and most importantly, how to prepare a business plan that actually gets endorsed. Because having a good business idea is one thing, but presenting it in a way that meets the criteria and convinces the endorsing body is a skill in itself. Until then, I want you to start thinking seriously about your business ideas. Start researching the endorsing bodies and which one might be the best fit for your concept. And remember this crucial point. Your final semester is when you should be planning this pathway, not your final month. The students who succeed with this route are the ones who plan ahead, prepare thoroughly, and execute strategically. Don't leave this to the last minute and then find yourself scrambling, or worse, missing the window entirely. Thank you for watching GoUKGo. I'll see you in the next video where we dive even deeper into making this Innovator Founder pathway work for you.